thanks for watching BSGcast. I'm Nat, he's Matt, and let's get started.
Episodes 7 and 8. Oh, Blood and Chrome. This is some of the worst green screen I've seen, and it starts with this great, big, cool, wicked shot over their shoulder of this ski lodge thing.
Which was actually pretty cool.
That shot was great, and I think if that shot wasn't so amazing, the next shot, where they're walking through the lobby of that green screened area, wouldn't have looked so bad.
So Matt is a specific, he's a purveyor of all green screeny CG goodness. He has a very attuned eye to these kinds of things. I myself, it wasn't so different than watching Caprica personally. I didn't think it was.
It wasn't so different from watching Galacticast personally. Our friends Rudy and Casey, they do this effect, and they do it better. I'm just saying. They know depth in a way that the guys who did this clearly don't. You can't put actor here and hope that they're going to both be in focus. That's not going to happen. You have to shoot them all separately and then layer them in post-production, and they just didn't do that here. And you wind up with some really... Even if you don't know what's gone wrong, you can tell something's gone wrong. And it just makes it feel a little more fake, makes it feel a little more cheap. And when I see things like that, I can kind of see why Sci-Fi said... No, we're not going to make a series of that show.
Maybe they did it because it was just a web series and didn't matter as much to them.
Maybe. It's possible that the effects hadn't been finished yet, and at that point, that's when Sci-Fi said, well, this is the budget you have because we're not making a full series.
There you go.
And then they had
they're like,
choice.
oh my god, we actually have to get 20 minutes worth of content out in a week's time. Oh my god, how are we going to fish it all? And that's what they did.
Maybe. I don't know.
Once you get past that, if it even bothered you, which it didn't really bother me, there were a lot of other interesting things that happened in these episodes. For one, that guy that we just met in the last 2 episodes, he's gone again. Who was he again? Who was he?
Oh, that was Tomas Vergis from Caprica with a beard.
Welcome back.
Welcome back and goodbye.
Maybe you were silent as well.
Yeah, geez. There was no explanation for why he looks exactly like another guy who was in the show.
So
but
ridiculous. Anyway.
With the beard, it was pretty hard to tell it was him. So that was nice.
Anyway, the episode was interesting. They get inside, they find some shelter, they have a breath of, oh my god, maybe we're okay. We see young Papadama have some sexy times with the engineer. Yeah, exactly that. Could have seen it coming, I guess, really.
It was really a matter of time.
Their connection since that steam bath shower scene or whatever.
Yeah, it was really a matter of time until something like that was going to happen. And
did we care? No.
Not really.
Care, really.
You know, I'm still waiting for Becca to get cool.
Is that her name, the engineer?
Becca Kelly or Kelly Becca?
I don't know.
So,
they have their moment and she opens up about her husband or whatever.
Yeah, so
irrelevant. Because the more interesting stuff happens right after that.
Yes, when there's a wicked explosion and something's a-coming and you see a blur. And the interesting thing is, this is when this episode should have ended. I would have liked to have waited a week to see what happened next. Because quite honestly, the way that this particular pair of episodes end is very anticlimactic. They just walk out of a refrigerator at the end of
after they're
8.
done with it.
Yeah, at the end of 7, we had an explosion, something cool. But at the end of 8, they walk out of the fridge.
Yeah, but some crazy stuff happens before they walk out of the fridge. How are you just glossing over this? We see the Centurions. We see Centurions for the first time. It's totally crazy. One part of me is like, this is awesome. The other part of me is, why the F did they look that way? Why the frack did they have predator mouth? What was wrong with old school Centurions having their little grill?
Yeah. And
the new, reimagined series
having a different grill.
Having a different grill. At what point did they decide that?
They're like, oh,
would be a good idea.
Roach face was a bad idea. Skip it. I don't know what that was about.
I have no idea.
Although we did get something really interesting once Adama somehow managed to beat a Centurion to death with a stick.
Maybe it still has the intelligence of Zoe. It doesn't know how to defend itself.
Maybe.
Okay.
Because I can't otherwise explain why a twerpy young Adama could possibly beat a Centurion with a stick.
Because he's a young Papadama, that's why.
I guess. I mean, we've seen him with a pretty wicked, with a fire extinguisher, beat the crap out of Leoben.
Yeah,
so if he can take, inanimate objects and beat up skin jobs, why not a Centurion with roach face?
So the other things that are kind of crazy in this episode, for one, and were you that surprised when the Centurion didn't kill the engineer when he had her cornered in that creepy room?
Yeah, with that interesting dog tag. So we're going to get to that more when we talk about 9 and 10, because we find out what it is, and then what it isn't, and then what it is. So.
Oh, and just in case you forgot or didn't know or whatever, Centurions feel pain. There we go.
Interesting.
Well,
there was never a
crazy.
point in Battlestar Galactica where I got that impression. I would love to watch those episodes again and see if that delineation between skin jobs being the masters, and the Centurions being a lower life form on the Cylon scale, if they feel pain in the original. I feel like that was just thrown in here because it's interesting.
They're throwing in a lot of stuff in these episodes that I don't know whether I like it so much.
We call it retcon. And I don't know if we like retcon in this particular series. But let's get into episodes 9 and 10, and we'll do that right next.